Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know that we're still going to have some more folks jumping on that aren't here just yet. And we're so glad to have all of y'all with us tonight. If you guys are new to our team, let me just say welcome. We have added so many new people this past month. It has been super exciting. I've loved seeing all the welcomes on our team page. And then in like the past, I don't know, like 3 days, have y'all noticed all the rank advancements? All the silvers and golds and even some rubies. And then outside of our team, there's been emeralds and sapphires and all sorts of stuff happening. And it has just been so exciting to see all of that. I hope you guys get excited when you see those rank advancements. Never, ever, ever let it make you feel like you're never going to get there or make you feel less than, because you are going to get there. And just let it be a reminder to you that if that person can do it, you can too. Sorry, I'm getting text messages if y'all can hear that beeping. But I also wanted to just go over just a few kind of quick announcements. First of all, something super duper exciting. Y'all, this past week, in case you missed it on Facebook, I was able to go pick up my second Plexus Lexus. I could have gotten it a while ago, but I wanted to stay with the one I had because I loved it so much. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of y'all for your hard work. You don't have to be in this business very long to know that you don't get very far without a team. And it's because of you guys that Lexus is in my garage. So thank you so very much. And it's beautiful. And I can't wait to have some of y'all maybe come visit, or me come see you guys and take y'all for rides in it. Or you can do like when Amber and Tommy Sheffield were in town, I just said, here, go drive my car instead of taking Ubers everywhere. So you can do that. If you come to Dallas and you don't want to rent a car and I can lend it to you, I'll be more than happy to do that. It's fancy though. Like it has this button that slows down for me if I don't slow down quick enough. It has another button that when it's turned on, keeps you from swerving in other lanes. And I swear to y'all, the other night it was driving all by itself. Like I was just sitting back watching the steering wheel move. It was trippy. Anyway, Jonathan's not a fan of that. He's like, I can drive a car. I've been doing it for however many years. And he's all grumpy old man, but that's okay. So if this is your first time on a Zoom call, let me just go over a few brief instructions. Down in the bottom left corner, there's a mute button. I have everyone muted except for me and our speaker right now, and that's just going to cut down on background noise. There's also a stop video and a start video feature. If you can see us, we can see you. If you need to turn that video camera off, just click that button down there. Although it's more fun if you don't turn it off in an emergency, because then we have a really good Zoom story to tell people. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, a couple other things to go over real quick. And I normally don't have this many announcements, but I want to get all these squeezed in while I have your ear. On Monday, this coming Monday, during the day from about 10 o'clock to 3:30, I'm doing 30-minute long coaching calls. I have 4 left. I posted this in my levels 1 through 3 page, okay? But if you are on here and you're not in that page, maybe you're on Janice's team outside of my leg, or even if you're a level 4 or 5 and you want to do a coaching call, send me a message and we'll get that worked out. I'm gonna keep doing more and more of these. I want to just set aside tons of time to do these where it's just me and you talking one-on-one, and we're just hashing out your goals and bouncing ideas off each other, and making sure that you are well equipped for the goals that you want to achieve. So those coaching calls will take place this Monday. I have 4 spots left for this Monday for 30-minute calls. And I think like 5 or 6 of them are already taken up. I'm doing it from like 10 to 3:30. And then, like I said, I'm going to offer it some more. So if it is something you want to do, shoot me over a Facebook message and let me know. You guys, how about the promos that came from corporate today? Were you not just like staring at your computer with your mouth wide open? Y'all, this super silver thing, I hope you guys took the time to read all about that. I'm not going to go into a lot of details because you got it in your email. We posted about it in Slim Sisters. But y'all, this is huge. People that have not gotten to gold yet, get them to gold, okay? Or get them to super silver, sorry. And then get them to gold. It's a nice kind of speed bump there on the way from silver to gold. So this is exciting. It's something that I mean, when I saw it, I got goosebumps. I just thought this is just one of the coolest promos I've ever seen them do. Plus, we've got $5 off X Factor right now and X Factor Kids. So make sure you see that in your emails. That was a lot of announcements. I feel like I'm like the associate pastor giving all the announcements, and I'm about to introduce the main speaker tonight. That's a preacher's kid for you. Anyway, I'm going to open us up in a word of prayer. And as we go throughout this call, if you guys have any questions, maybe jot them down. And then at the end, if we have time for a Q&A, you could put those in the chat. But let's not have the chat feature popping up constantly through the call because it's just a little bit distracting. So I'm going to say a word of prayer. I'll introduce our speaker, who I'm super excited about, and then we'll get started. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this time just to come together with this amazing team. Lord, we thank you for each and every person that's on this call. Lord, for those that can't be on this call, if there's any that are sick, if there's any that are hurting, Lord, we just ask that you just meet their needs in a way that only you can. Lord, I thank you so much for these people that have become like family to us, some that already were family before Plexus. And Lord, I just pray that you just continue to rain down your richest blessings upon their business. Lord, I thank you for Sarah, and I thank you for her taking her time to speak with us tonight. Lord, I just thank you for just for her testimony and for her Plexus testimony and for her testimony for loving you. Lord, we have seen her and her family persevere this past year, and we just thank you so much for that. In your name, amen. Y'all, Sarah Taylor, she's a diamond in our company. I like to always stress this because if you've ever been in another network marketing company, this is not the usual. She's not anywhere in our upline, y'all. That is rare, but yet she is willing to get on this call, give of her time to speak truth into us. And I mentioned in the prayer, her and her family have persevered. No doubt a lot of y'all have been praying along with me for them. Their home was, I mean, more or less destroyed, at least the entire downstairs during Hurricane Harvey down in Houston. It was Harvey, right? Yeah, I get all the names. There were so many of them there for a while. But just to see how the Plexus community came together to help them was just really, really cool. And to see her continue to just honor and praise the Lord through the whole thing was awesome. So Sarah, we are ecstatic that you're here to talk to us tonight, and we're ready to listen. Take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Amber, for having me on your call. It's always an honor to be able to meet other teams and get to chat back and forth. I always learn so much, just from the other teams around us as well. And I've definitely been praying for you guys over the last year as well. So I wanted to start out, the whole point in the topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight is creating momentum. And I think it's one of those topics that I have, unfortunately, had to figure out over and over and over again. A lot of times when people see a diamond in Plexus or somebody successful in any industry, but specifically for this purpose, anybody successful in Plexus at any level, your brain kind of automatically goes into that thought process of, well, it must have been easy for them. You start making up this whole dialogue of, she must have had the perfect network, or she must have had the perfect story, or she must have had, a whole bunch of people that wanted to jump on board with her, and it just became easy and she got to diamond, and we make up these dialogues and then we compare it to our own journey. And I want to start out by saying that each and every one of us has a unique and special journey, and each and every one of us has the exact same, possibility of success and getting all the way to diamond. So never ever count yourself out and stop that comparison. But the reason I want to share my story is that a lot of my team and a lot of teams outside of me have always thought that mine was a straight line to success, and it couldn't be further from the truth. So I'm just going to start out with my story a little bit and then get into what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to go too crazy deep into it, but when I first started with Plexus, I was actually a wholesale ambassador. I had no plans of making this a business. My husband and I had just come through a really stressful time in our lives. We'd had 3 deaths in our family, in our immediate family, and we were just really struggling and just overcoming that kind of devastation. And along with those, we also had 2 premature babies and 1 baby in heaven. And so it was very, very difficult for us to, we had a lot of debt. I'll put it that way. My husband had also just changed careers, and we had a ton of NICU debt. We had $60,000 in NICU debt. And that year before we started Plexus, we had gone from 2 6-figure salaries. I was put onto a forced leave of absence from my job due to bed rest complications with my pregnancy. And that was the unfortunate exact time that my husband decided to try and to move into a different career. So our take-home pay the year before Plexus was $24,000, coming from 2 6-figure salaries. And so if any of you guys have ever been through a season like that in your life, it just feels like things are coming at you from every direction. You feel out of control. And the last thing that I wanted to take on was what I always viewed as a money suck. Network marketing to me always seemed like it was something that you're going to have to put forth a lot of inventory and time and that type of thing away from your family. And I didn't have that luxury. I had 2 little kids at home. I didn't want to do parties, and I also couldn't afford that closet full of inventory. But I was also dealing with severe depression, and these products truly helped me. And so that's why I signed up to be a wholesale ambassador with absolutely no intent to make this a job. But people noticed. People saw just how much it had changed my personality. I wasn't losing weight. In fact, I gained weight the first month, and I always like to say that. I did ultimately hit my goal weight with Plexus, but I gained weight my first month. But people were hopping on board with me left and right, not because I was posting all over Facebook or anything like that, simply because they saw the change in my demeanor and the change in my attitude, and they saw life coming back into me. And so Gavin actually was the person that ultimately convinced me to make my first post on Facebook and to see if I could just, get my products paid for and, move forward like that. And over the course of that first month, I ended up having a lot of people join me. I was blessed by the fact that there was a whole lot of interest in joining me in Plexus. And I had that kind of built-in influence with my network that some people have. So I went and I missed Fast Start Gold by just I think 2 people, because I didn't know what Fast Start Gold was. And then the next month ended up going gold. And then Gavin joined me in the business, my husband. And he missed Fast Start Gold because, again, we still didn't know what it was. And he was just by one person, I think it was. So we were in momentum. By all, everybody we were moving forward. I thought, oh my goodness, this is easy. I can't believe it. And so we were just going boom, 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 boom. I hit senior gold, and then I hit ruby very, very quickly back to back. And at the point when I hit ruby, that's when everything just completely fell apart. And looking back, at that point, I had just gone so quickly up. And then I hit this point where literally everything unraveled. Not only did I lose ruby, but I almost lost senior gold as well. And I just went into this crazy backslide of momentum. So I hit like this crazy upward momentum, and then almost just as fast as I went in that crazy upward motion, it started to go the exact opposite. And I'm sure that other people have been in that situation, but your automatic knee-jerk reaction is, I know what I'm doing. This is not my fault. This is my team's fault. This is my upline's fault. This is my sideline's fault. This is anybody's fault but mine, right? And so you go through that stage, and over the course of time, I credit that season in my business, that 6 months of just total nothingness in my business, literally going backwards, plateauing, just hovering around, no growth whatsoever. And I couldn't seem to make anything move. I credit that time in my business for the biggest learning period in my business. That is the point in time where I had to do a lot of self-reflection, and I had to figure out how to create momentum. I had to figure out how to move from where I was, which was backwards momentum, back into actually building. I had to learn how to connect with my team members. I had to look and self-evaluate and figure out where I had gone wrong and why this was happening. And I had to take ownership of my business as well. And one of the biggest things I learned, number one, and I don't know if any of you guys have been in this situation before, I am not a teacher by nature. That is not something that is a skill of mine. That's not something that I feel like I have that gift, right? And so I had to literally sit down and I had to recognize that fact, and I had to go and learn how to teach. I had to go learn and figure out how to impart knowledge to others. And then over the course of time, I also had to realize that, you guys, I was operating from a very sales-driven mentality. I was one of those people that was recruit, close the deal, move on, don't provide any level of service, right? And so I was doing that to my customers. I was doing that to my ambassadors. I was in a very sales-driven mentality. I wasn't in a very impact-driven mentality. And I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But I wasn't building relationships with my team. I wasn't supporting my team. I was doing a lot of things where I was very, very focused on the end result, that focused on the sale, focused on that sort of thing. So I focused really hard on building connection and building relationships with my team, and slowly and surely we kind of turned it around, and I'll get to that more in a second. And over the course of that time, we slowly started turning it around. I ended up going on to rebuilding that, going on to Senior Ruby, and then it was 3 months to Emerald, and then quite quickly to Diamond after that. But in that time, and I've hit plateaus since then, and each time I've hit plateaus, I've fallen back, I've gone forward again. You know, once you're Diamond, you're not immune to that either, right? But each of those times, you get better and better and better, and you figure it out, right? So each one of those little speed bumps, you have to realize that there are life cycles, or there's not life cycles, sales cycles in network marketing. There's different seasons in network marketing. There's different seasons in every business. Every business cannot remain in momentum for eternity. It's not possible. It doesn't happen, right? So you have to figure out what you're supposed to learn in each one of those seasons, and be convicted enough in your goals and your dreams to learn from those seasons and to grow, and to continue to work through the down seasons and get yourself back into the up seasons. So one of the things that I have learned over the course of those times, because that one season wasn't the only season I've had in my business, where it's been rough and it's been a trial, and it's been, we just came through Hurricane Harvey, and I had to take multiple months off my business. So all of those things tend to just derail you. But at the end of the day, one of the biggest things I have learned is that everybody's looking for a silver bullet in this business. Everybody's looking for this, this answer that's just going to catapult them into success. And really and truly, what I think that is relationships. I think the best thing that you can do to your business, to and just life in general, is connection. If you focus on impact, and you focus on how can I impact this person I'm talking to, how can I impact this ambassador or this potential customer, if you're walking into those conversations with impact in mind instead of a sale in mind, your whole tone of your conversation changes. Your whole demeanor in that conversation, the questions that you ask, the energy that you give off is completely different than if you're walking in there with a end goal of making a sale and moving on, right? And even if we don't mean to, even if we're sitting there and we're having this conversation, we're not meaning to give off that vibe, but if you're in a desperate end of month close, or I've got to hit this certain thing, sometimes you can accidentally give that vibe off without even knowing it. And so what I always like to teach my team, and I think this is the biggest thing that you can do, is when you're sitting down to work your business, take it off yourself. Take that selfish, that selfish thought process off of you. I think even fear is selfish, honestly, and I'll get to that in a second. But take that selfishness off of you and step out in that with that helping mentality, with that impact mentality. And how can I help Amber? What are her goals? I've got to figure out how this, Plexus can help her with her goals. How can I impact her life and help her make changes in her life that are going to better her life? And how can I educate her on our products and our opportunity as it relates to her? So the first step in that is really getting to know the other person in a genuine and authentic and vulnerable way, asking those questions, building that relationship. And I hope that Amber won't be upset with me saying this, but over the course of the past, I would say about year and a half, I've kind of come to the realization that I'm a very red personality, and I don't love the color personalities, but it's the easiest way to describe, how I operate. I'm very, very red, and I come from a sales background, but the way that we describe activity and the way that we describe just IPA in this business, I almost view IPA at this point as a 4-letter word because it causes so much fear in people. And when you say IPA and when you say go reach out to 3 people a day and go do this and this and this and this, they automatically move into that sales mentality instead of that relationship building mentality. And so if you say go out, instead of taking the words, IPA and all those types of things, and if you tell your people to just go out there and simply love on other people, go out there and build relationships with 3 people, go out there and do those types of things, you guys, you're going to have a much better return on your investment, and you're going to have a lot more a lot less ambassadors that are frustrated and feeling like they are bothering their friends, and you're going to have a lot less ambassadors that are operating in fear. And one of the things that I think about fear, and I truly, truly believe that fear is selfish, especially in terms of what we're offering. Because you guys, we have life-changing products. We have a life-changing income opportunity. I am a testament to both of those things. My depression and our financial situation have been profoundly changed and completely turned around over the past 4 years of me being with Plexus. And so when I go out and I'm talking to people, I'm operating from that standpoint. I'm operating from a standpoint of, I know that these products are going to help you and we're going to get you the results you're after. I know that these are going to be the things that's going to change everything for you, right? I'm not scared or fearful to reach out to anybody or talk to anybody because it's not about me. Fear is selfish. When you are not going out there and talking to people and sharing this with them, you're keeping it inside because it's about you. It's about, what are they going to think about me? What are they going to say to me? What's going to happen if they say no to me? It's all me, 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 me. And that line of thinking is so, so, so selfish. I know some of you are probably thinking, what is she talking about? But I truly, truly believe that you cannot possibly be fearful to talk to somebody when it's about them, when you're trying to help them and you genuinely believe that. So I really think that teaching your ambassadors and teaching your team and yourself and training yourself to come at this from a different perspective. We all are goal-oriented. We're all, obviously this is a business at the end of the day as well, but this is a business of helping people. And this is a business of providing impact and change in people's lives and providing hope in their life. And you're that vessel. You're the person that is providing that to them. They're not thinking about Plexus 24/7 like you are, but they don't know what you know. They don't even know what questions to ask you about Plexus, right? So we have to kind of guide that. We have to help them understand and educate and show them the possibility of this. And then at the end of the day, once you've done that and once you've left them feeling like, wow, Sarah or Amber or Rhonda or whoever has that she really does believe that this is going to be something for me. It's, she really does believe that this is going to be the thing that, I feel good. Like, I'm excited to lead that conversation. I'm not feeling like I just got sold to, and so I think that that's one of the biggest things. We want to make other people feel good about themselves. We want to make other people or help other people feel excited to start Plexus, and like they can't wait to be able to get that package in the mail and get their welcome pack in the mail or get their slim in the mail and get started. So I truly believe it's all about that relationship, and it's all about the just the mindset that you approach each one of those conversations that you have with people. And it becomes a very, very different outcome when you approach it in that kind of way. So I think that those types of things, just getting over that fear and kind of getting over ourselves, and getting over all of our preconceived notions about success and everything, and what we're trying to accomplish and those types of things, and what people are going to think, all of that, just getting over all of that and kind of getting over yourself and stepping out and just leading with your heart is going to be the thing that really ends up creating momentum in your business. Because if you transfer that not just to your potentials, but also to the people that are underneath you and on your teams and in your life, it's going to be it really does breed that momentum, and it changes that mindset. So I'll just leave you guys with this, and you guys can ask questions and everything too. But I really think that that moment before you sit down to work your business, reset your mind. Do it on purpose. Reset the way that you're thinking, and not that you're going to go out there and try and do your follow-up and make a sale and that sort of thing. Go out there with a thought process of impact.
Sarah, thank you so much. I'm keep taking notes, and I'm like writing all on the side of my page and everything. It's just so good. And I hope you guys, those of you that have been on several of these calls that we've had since January, I hope y'all are seeing what I'm seeing, and it's this common thread woven through all of them that BT Dubs, I didn't ask any of our speakers to talk about, but every single one of them have talked about relationships. Every single one of them have talked about how, what we say, that this is relationship marketing. We call it network marketing. I like calling it relationship marketing. And it goes back, and I mentioned this on another call, and Sarah, we've had some amazing calls. We had Lori Harrison and Emily Gibson, and who else did we have? As you can tell, they're amazing. I can't even remember who all it was, but they really were amazing. But every single one of them have talked about this building relationships. And I think that it's probably okay to still use the term IPA, income producing activity, but let's rework what that means to us, and it's more about building those relationships rather than, contact 5 people and train this many people and do this, that, and the other, kind of a checklist kind of thing. And that was one thing, as you were talking, I thought about when we went to get the new Lexus. We went somewhere different than we went last time because we didn't have a good experience with the salesman last time. We had a great experience with this one, and I'll recommend them forever. No one wants to feel that they're being that sold to kind of, I'm going to get you for all you're worth mentality, So especially not from someone that they consider a friend. And so I love everything you said. Talk to us a little bit. So you talked about how at Ruby, everything kind of started going backwards. Was it just adjusting that mindset to more of a relationship mindset that got you going back the right direction?
So it definitely was, but then it was the feet that I put to that. So what I did here locally, and I live in Houston, and a lot of my level ones at that point in time were in Houston. A lot of them weren't, but I had a good amount here. And what I did is I scheduled time with them. I got on their calendar and I went out and I did one-on-one time at first. So I went out and I talked to each one of them. I fell on my sword and I was like, look, I don't know what I'm doing here. We are all learning together. I don't know, I'm not, and this was my first stint in network marketing. I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never managed people before, and I don't believe it's managing people, but I had never led before. And so we would sit down over coffee or have a glass of wine or do, whatever. And we would share, and we just had like friend time. And then we kind of locked arms. It's like, let's inevitably, it turns to Plexus. We're like, we're going to do this together. And so it changed that mentality, because I wasn't, it just changed the way that we conversed, and it changed it into more of a partnership. And then we started doing a lot more in person. You guys, I can't stress this enough, and I'm guilty, especially over the past year for me. It's been very difficult, but we've got to so we do so many internet opportunity meetings, internet-based Facebook parties and that type of thing. There is no substitution for getting your local team together and just bonding with them and doing things with them and doing life with them, and even doing the Plexus events too. The opportunity of a lifetime meeting is going around right now, and it totally filled my cup, the one that we just had in Houston. It was amazing, and you forget what hearing those testimonies in person really does to you. But then the other thing that I did too is I was actually one of the first people, if not the first, I'm not really sure. I was senior gold at the time, so my view of Plexus was like this big, or I was Ruby, but senior gold. And we did a retreat, a team retreat. I was like, you know what, let's just gather everybody, whoever wants to come, let's all pitch in and let's meet. And we rented a log cabin and we had a retreat, and we just trained and bonded and everything. And it was the first in our series of retreats. We now do 2 a year. And that, above all else, really changed everything, because we would have people fly in for the retreats that you wouldn't normally get to see and get to have contact with. So it really truly was the relationships. It was the mindset that changed, but then it was the actions behind the mindset that really did just create those bonds. We just got back from a retreat this past weekend in Gulf Shores as well. So they're amazing.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, I got another question for you. Do you have a duplicatable system for training your new people?
So what we always do is, there's a couple different things. I have a pinned post, and it's like 4 parts. It's 4 different little graphics that I can send you, because it's kind of hard to explain. But we always, we tag people in that first, and then we also have the conversation about it. But we do 3-way chats. That's the way that we do it. We do 3-way chats with the upline, and it's just something as simple as, hey, to my new person I just invited, hey, Taylor, I just want to introduce you to Jamie. This is my upline. Between her and I, we've both been in the business for about 4 years, and we're super excited to get you started on this, blah, 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 blah. She's just another point of contact. It's not like a full-on training right then, but my goal with that is to get her another point of contact, get them friend requested, help her understand what Jamie's role is too, and that she has support in me and, support with Jamie and more and more. And then over the course of that conversation with the 2 of us in there, I kind of go over the basics. Hey, you'll see that we have at the top of our page, we have a testimony page that's pinned. We add her to that. I always have my new ambassadors watch 3 different of our testimony videos that we have in our testimony page, or read through. And then that's what we base our first call on. And I find that leading with that inspiration instead of, the instructions and all that kind of stuff is best. And then I usually get them on a phone call, just myself, not with anybody else. And I go over the products that they're personally taking, answer any questions, help make sure that they can navigate the back office really well too. So that's kind of what it's very simple. It's not, super involved or anything like that. We're not a team that, we're not a team that has a standing new ambassador training. I'll do them when I see, fit, and we have some recordings and that kind of stuff. But again, I really think that when I do those, it kind of almost makes me lose the one-on-one communication between the sponsor and them. And that's really what I want. I want that 3-way chat to happen. That's my single most important thing to have happen during that sign up.
That's awesome. Who is your upline?
Jamie Mays.
Oh, okay. Okay. You said Jamie and I figured that's who it was, but I wasn't sure. Okay. Another question that I thought of while you were talking was, first of all, I'd never heard your story before. And wow, like your testimony of how you came into Plexus and everything. And I don't know, Amy Triplett, I see you're on the call now. I don't know if you were on the call at the very beginning, but go back and listen to it because it's similar to your story, Amy. Just, it gets me so excited. I'm almost at a loss for words because we have products, and I know you guys have heard me say this a gajillion times. We have products that are changing people's lives. We are not marketing jewelry or makeup or leggings, for crying out loud, okay? We have products that are changing people's lives. Never, ever, ever forget that. And that's exactly what she was talking about when she said, your fear of not speaking to someone is selfish. You could have the answer that they need for their health. But we also have a compensation plan and a business plan that, in my opinion, is just as equally life-changing. And so to hear your story of that, you know, the 2 six-figure incomes to the $24,000 a year, then enter Plexus, it just got me so excited. It's another story of just how our business continues to change people's lives. And you guys, let that get you excited. When you hear stories like that, let that big old smile come on your face. Write it down and go back to it on those days when it feels like everyone's telling you no. And go back and just remember, somewhere out there is my Sarah Taylor. Somewhere out there is that person who needs this, and I don't even know that they need it. It's so stinking exciting. I could talk about that for forever. But you talked about how you had to go to your people, and you said you fell on your sword. And it sounds to me, in John Maxwell terms, that you had to raise the law of the lid. You had to raise your leadership lid. And all that I simply mean by that is, you know, her leadership potential was this big and she made it this big. I mean, that's a simple explanation. So talk to us just a little bit about how you did that. How did you become a much better leader and the leader you are now?
I'll tell you, I sought out knowledge and I watched, so it was kind of funny. I would watch YouTube videos of, you know, leaders that were inspiring me, both in Plexus, but also outside of Plexus. And I was actually watching the videos for the content somewhat in some cases, but mainly to help me understand how to start imparting knowledge, because that to me was where I saw one of the biggest things that was holding me back, because I was at a place where I just assumed everybody knew how to do it and that they would, you know, and because that's what I did. I just jumped in and started, you know, doing it. And I come to realize that I wasn't, you know, necessarily handling those things right. The other big thing that I did is, after I had all those conversations and all that, we started doing opportunity meetings, just like back to back to back. That was like our big thing down here, as Jamie and I led all these opportunity meetings. And so our team that's how we grew. But once that happened, I also locked arms with about 6 or 7 of my level 1 leaders that I saw really big potential in. They weren't necessarily exploding at that time, but I knew that they had the desire, number 1, which is important if you're going to pour into somebody. But then number 2, they had the potential, and, you know, they were hungry, they were ready to go, and they were my friends. And so we did the John Maxwell 21 Laws of Leadership book study together. And I will tell you, that book changed my life, because I had some gifts, I would say, in natural influence with my circle, which can be taught. You can build influence within your circle. But I just had that gift, but I didn't have that leadership gift. I didn't know what leadership necessarily was. It wasn't something that I innately knew how to do, and I certainly didn't know how to grow it from where I was without some outside help. And so that personal development for me was a game changer. And John Maxwell, I've read tons of his books at this point, but I soak up those types of things. And I think even now I'm doing a lot of the Bob Heilig trainings for myself, because I think that no matter what you get to in this business, if you're not learning, you're not going to grow. And so that to me was a big thing, and teaching my team that it's, none of it, get over your pride, none of us know everything. Let's, learn together and partner together and learn this stuff. And as we go,
Awesome. Okay. One last question for you. When you're training your team to either maneuver out of salesy to more relationship, or maybe they've never fortunately gotten into that salesy area and you're just training them relationship, is that taught more by example? Is that taught with, here's the 5 steps to do this kind of thing? Can you talk us through that just a little bit?
A lot of times it's 3-way chats.
Okay.
I can tell you Amy Welch is on my team. I don't know if you guys know of her. She's a Sapphire, but she was probably one of the best examples I had of every single person that she ever talked to during the first, probably 90 days of her business. We would get in a 3-way chat with them, and she learned how to talk to them and how to do this through me talking to them and me basically doing it. And then over the course of time, it became her leading that conversation and me just providing that validation and, for her. And so it really helped her grow her business in a really quick manner. But she also learned exactly how to answer all those questions, how to answer and how to lead with a different mentality, because she joined after I had gone through that hump of leadership. She was the lucky one that joined right after that, right when I was starting to get things like better flowing and had a better idea of how to do this. And she took off. And I still think to this day, every single person that we are able, and not everybody's willing, so don't beat yourself up if people aren't willing to get in 3-way chats. Some people they just won't. But I think if they can recognize the impact and the power of that, and you guys can do those together, that's the best way, is to learn by that example. But they can even see it, I think, in team pages with the presence that you all have, whether you have a team page or whether you don't. The way that you answer questions on the team page to other people, the way your belief, the way that you talk about it when you give your testimony or when you make posts and you're talking on social media, there's just a certain presence about that.
Now, I think you said this clearly, but I was taking notes, so forgive me. You do these 3-way chats primarily with newbies or with potentials, or both?
Both.
Both. Got it. Okay. All right. Does anyone else have, hey, there's my mom. I can actually see your face, Mom. Oh, she went away. Sorry. Does anybody else have any good questions? Hey, Case, to put in the chat feature? Real quick for Sarah, if you have anything, or if you want to unmute and ask real quick. Man, I am loving seeing so many of you guys. There's so many of y'all I've just missed, and I'm just loving seeing your faces.
I have a question.
Hey, Ann.
Hi. I have been listening while I am sewing, so instead of you guys watching me throw threads all over the place, that's why I didn't have my video on. Sarah, I am super intrigued by the way that you're able to duplicate the 3-way calls and get everybody else excited about them. But my biggest question for you with that is, what are you saying to the wholesale ambassadors, to the people who really just want the products and they want them for cheap? Because I feel like that is the vast majority of my team. And it seems to be who I'm still attracting is more wholesale buyers. So I would love to hear some insight on that, how you guys deal with that. Like, the crickets on your team page, all the wholesale buyers who don't want to say anything because it's like, well, I don't want her to think that I'm going to sell this stuff. I'm just doing it for myself, So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I think there's a couple different things, and I can't believe I didn't mention this before, so I'm sorry. But so when I talked to my person that just signed up, right, and I talked to them about the testimony group that we have, I also talked to them about the 7-day trial group that we have, and I put them in there. And because they're starting out too, right? They might not necessarily be on a 7-day trial, but they're still starting out on Plexus. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to add you to this group. It's just a really great way to kind of walk you through your first week of Plexus and learn and, ask questions and get some fun giveaways and that kind of thing. So they jump in there. And it's a huge belief builder because they can participate and they can win all the things as well. But what I've seen, that group makes them realize how easy it is to get a couple people on Plexus, because they see, they get added into it. They see all the energy and all the excitement, and they see all these new people trying Plexus and loving it. And very rarely is in that group is there ever any sort of like, oh, I don't like this in the first week. Most people love it. And so they start saying, you know what, I'm going to get a couple trials. I'm going to ask so-and-so about it. Not everybody, but it helps a lot of them. But then the other part of it is a lot of times I'll ask them, hey, can you give me a shout out on Facebook just for, introducing you to the products, and just give me a shout out and say, how much that you love your products. You don't have to say you're selling it or anything like that. People will do that for you, especially if they're loving the product, or say they've come up as a customer and they decide to become a wholesaler. As soon as that happens, that day that they sign up, during that first 48 hours, it's a real critical time. I'll ask them to make a shout out. They are far less likely to say no at that point in time than, 6 months down the road. But even 6 months down the road, I am absolutely going to ask them if I feel, that I need to. But during the first 48 hours, if you ask them to give that shout out on Facebook, that's a huge, huge opportunity for you, because they're going to give the shout out. A couple of people are going to comment on it, and that's your in to be like, look, oh my gosh, even if you just got one customer, that's going to knock $20 off at the cost of your triplex every single month, because their preferred customer bonus is $20. And so just even saying that, then it kind of sets this light bulb. They're like, oh my gosh, and they already are liking it, or they're already interested. They commented on my post about it. So those types of things are really, really helpful. But then the other thing on the team pages, you guys have to involve your wholesalers on the team pages. There has to be product tips and, product information and things that wholesalers will find valuable. We've done things like P96 recipe contests just to get people involved and for them to be like, oh wait, P96, I'm just taking triplex. What's that? I do a lot of giveaways on my team page that are just product giveaways, like, whatever, at the end of the month, or, anytime during the month, just random giveaways for like 3 days or something like that. All you guys have to do is watch this video and tell me what you think, or tell me what you learned on it or whatever, if it's like a short little video that I found. We did a 2-month Why Plexus series as well. And I think that was one of the biggest things that started to really build belief in Plexus. It was training calls on our products. One product, every single time, say we would touch on gut health, or say we would touch on inflammation or something like that, we would have a testimony on there, we would have the science behind it, and then we would have me that would hop on and say, okay, these are the products that you would need to take to get that type of result, and here's how here's the why behind it. And so it really helped. They were real short, and we had a lot of wholesalers getting on there just to learn about what they were putting in their body. So I think just really making sure that you're engaging wholesalers on your page.
That's awesome. Those are some great ideas. And I'm going to be sending you a message about some more things you said that I want more clarification on, because I like those ideas. Anybody else have any questions? I've had several of the ones I've asked you, people have texted me, so they've come from other people, but.
Oh, she said, do I lead with the business, and if so, how? I do. I feel like leading with the business, because it's so changed me, but it changed me from the first month, like it's not just, you don't have to have a diamond income to say, $100 is a good, everybody needs $100, or a lot of people need $100, maybe not everybody, but just those types of things. I think that leading with the business and talking to people about the business from moment one is a huge, huge deal, because for 2 reasons. Number one, if you lead with the business and you tell them all about the business in the same breath, usually I'll talk about the products as it pertains to them and that kind of thing, and be like, but girl, you've got to look at this business too, because it's been life-changing for me. I'll just throw it in there like that, and just real nice and that kind of thing. I'm not laying it all out and Plexus puking on them about the comp plan or anything like that, but bringing it up and planting those little seeds. Because if you lay it all out and you explain the 3 ways to buy, and you talk to them about the business and what it's done for you, and that whole thing, chances are they might say no to the business right then, but they'll fall back on the products. If you don't even present the business at all and build that belief and plant those little seeds in it, they're saying yes or no just about the products. And so if you present the business and the products, they're gonna say yes to something, because there's the easier thing to say yes to is the products. You've got a new customer, but you've got a customer and maybe a wholesale ambassador, but you've got those two, one of those 2 things that has in the back of their head, what, maybe if I like these a whole lot, I might give this a whirl. I'm going to watch her. I'm going to watch Sarah a little bit more. I'm going to watch Amber a little bit more and see if I like this, or see on the team page if this is something that I think I want to do. And the easier you make those initial sales by using tools and that sort of thing, and not just word vomiting on them about the products, the easier you make that sales process for them, the more duplicatable that is, because they're going to duplicate exactly how you sold to them in the beginning. They're going to view their view of Plexus as you, and the way that you sell and the way that you talk about the products and the way that you explained everything. If you use like the Slim video, or you use your upline, or you use something else, a testimony or something to help explain the products, then it becomes a much easier thing for them to say, I could do this too. I think I could do this. And our Slim 7-day trial group that we do every month serves that purpose beautifully, because they know I can get people in there and they're going to, get signed up. So that's what I use a lot with my people too.
Sarah, thank you so much. I don't say this lightly. I think I could listen to you talk for several more hours, because you're just so down to earth. And I just got a text from a friend that just said I could listen to her forever. She's so normal. Like you're just so like, you're our people. Okay. You're just our people. But we're so grateful for you just giving us this time and just to speak this truth into us. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to close in prayer. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording. We'll stick around for a little after party for anyone who wants to hang out for a little while. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this evening. I thank you for this awesome, awesome call. Lord, we thank you for Sarah. We thank you for her family. Lord, for the progress that's been made on their home. Lord, we just thank you for that, God. And we thank you for their safety through all of that. Lord, I just pray that you will just continue to bless her and bless Gavin and bless their children. Lord, just rain down your richest blessings upon them and upon their business, Lord, so that they can continue to help others and speak truth into others. And Lord, continue to serve you to the best of their ability. Lord, I thank you for this team once again. I pray that you'll just be with us tonight. Lord, just give us all a good night's rest and a great day tomorrow. In your name, amen. All right. Good night, you guys. If you want to stick around, we'll stick around. Thank you, Sarah, once again.
Good night, guys. Thank you so much for having me.